All right, jumping right in. Today's deep dive is a big one. We're talking Google search, the essential tool of the internet, right? But is it maybe not what it used to be?
Yeah, it's interesting how things have changed. Remember their old motto, don't be evil? They were all about unbiased results, putting the user first. Trust was everything.
Right. I was actually looking back at some of the early stuff, and there's this one quote about how advertising can actually hurt search results, make them worse. Kind of ironic, considering.
Oh, absolutely. Considering they made, what was it, $847 billion last year?
Yeah.
And a huge chunk of that, like 76%, was purely from ads.
Wow, $847 billion just from search ads. Talk about an incentive to maybe possibly prioritize profits over those perfectly unbiased results.
Right. And that leads us to a key point our sources bring up, this idea of above the fold, that prime real estate you see before you even scroll. It's like the front page of a newspaper. It's got to grab your attention.
Totally. But now it feels like instead of getting the news, I'm getting bombarded with ads before I even see any actual content.
It's true. Ads have gotten so much more in your face. One source actually tested this. They searched how to secure my data. Pretty important stuff. 4 ads in a row before a single actual result.
You're kidding. 4. You think securing your data would involve, well, information about securing your data, not just companies hawking their latest VPN, though I guess it makes sense.
It's almost poetic irony. But this shift to an ad-heavy experience, it makes you wonder, have they gotten complacent? Like they don't have to try as hard to get our clicks anymore.
Especially because the lines have gotten so blurry. I mean, remember when sponsored results had that bright yellow background? Now it's this little sponsored tag that blends right in.
Yeah, you practically need a magnifying glass. And this whole thing gets even trickier with online shopping. Think about it. How often are you seeing those sponsored product carousels?
Oh, all the time. But here's the weird thing. This is what I find so interesting. They're actually really good at tailoring those sponsored products to what I'm searching for.
It's uncanny, right? Like, they're reading your mind. But here's what our source found. While the sponsored stuff is spot on, the regular organic search results for products, often a total letdown.
Seriously. So they're good, but not that good. They nail the sponsored stuff, but can't find a decent match otherwise.
It's bizarre. They gave the example of someone searching for the thinnest mini fridge. Google's sponsored suggestions. Perfect. Understood exactly what they were after a slim fridge. But scroll down to the organic results. All these short, wide fridges completely missed the mark.
You've got to be kidding. It's almost funny. But it makes you wonder, is it just a coincidence or is it strategic? Because, let's be real, it benefits them if we all just click the sponsored products.
$1 million question. And this is where we get into the whole SEO thing, search engine optimization, because it's not just Google calling the shots. We got to talk about the content creators, too.
Right. It's not like Google's writing all the spammy articles out there. So for those of us who don't live and breathe algorithms, break it down to what's SEO all about.
Basically, it's the art, and sometimes, sadly, the dark art of making your website rank higher in search results. And it's become ridiculously competitive. It's like an arms race to game the system.
And who's caught in the crossfire of this arms race? We, the users. Because when websites are more focused on outsmarting Google than actually giving us good information, well, finding what we need gets a whole lot harder.
Exactly. And some of the examples our source found are almost laughable, like those AliExpress listings, just walls of random words, clearly just trying to catch any possible search. Who cares if it makes sense?
Oh, or those articles that are clearly outdated, but they slap a big, shiny 2024 on them and call it a day. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, just trying to trick us.
It's a minefield out there. And it's not just the really obvious ones, the keyword stuffing. Even the big, reputable sites, they're getting in on the act. Our source actually called out Forbes.
Forbes? Seriously? Were they going to try and sell me some Invest Your Way to Riches online course?
Not quite. But they have been publishing a lot of, shall we say, supplement-heavy articles lately.
Okay. And the connection to SEO is?
Well, think about it. Ads for supplements. They're incredibly lucrative. Forbes knows what they're doing. It's a business decision.
So basically, instead of, actual hard-hitting journalism, it's the top 10 supplements for a longer life.
Right.
Makes you think, what don't we get to see? Because it's buried under a mountain of protein powder.
Right. It all ties into this bigger trend our sources talk about, the rise of affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
And those top 10 lists, they're everywhere.
Oh, tell me about it. Top 10 blenders, top 10 laptops. I swear next there'll be a top 10 lists. But What's wrong with a little recommendation? Don't we love a shortcut?
We do, but the problem is these recommendations, they're not always coming from a genuine place, you know?
Yeah.
Often they're driven by those affiliate links. The website gets a cut if you click and buy.
Ah, so it's less about the best blender, more about the blender that gives them the biggest commission.
Exactly. One source talked about finding the most random, overpriced, frankly not great products at the top of these lists. Things they knew weren't even good quality, and there they were, being promoted like crazy.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
It's like going to a mechanic and they tell you, you need this huge expensive repair when your car just needs an oil change. You're getting played.
It's all about trust, right? And it just goes to show you can't take these top tens or even online reviews at face value.
Right. That glowing review might just be a sales pitch in disguise.
Or-
Do your research, folks. Compare, check different sources, and think about who's really benefiting from your click.
Speaking of hidden motives, we've got to talk about Google's AI-generated summaries and search results. That's been stirring things up.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one. I'll admit, part of me is like, cool, Google, you read the article for me, save me some time. But then I'm like, wait a second.
Right. There are some bigger questions here. Like, it sounds convenient. Who doesn't love a shortcut? But what does it mean for the people making the content and for how information actually spreads online?
I saw one source called some of these summaries gobbledygook, which, I mean, hilarious, but also kind of true. It's like trying to squeeze a whole essay into a tweet. Something's got to give.
Totally. And the irony is, Google, they built their empire on indexing, on organizing all this information, right? And now they might be leading us towards something much more closed off.
It's weird when you think about it like that. They were the champions of here's everything, explore. But now with these AI answers, it's like, don't worry, we'll just tell you what you need to know.
And if it gets so easy, so simple to just get the AI summary, will people even bother going any deeper? That's what's a little scary.
It's like that infification idea our source brought up. That thing where you get hooked on a product. It's amazing. It's free. And then slowly, the balance tips. More ads, premium versions. You're stuck in their system.
Happens all the time in tech. And it's not always malicious, right? Business has got to make money. But when we're talking about information, knowledge, access, the stakes are way higher.
It makes you wonder, what happens if Google's AI gets so good you don't even need to click? What reason would you have to go beyond their little curated garden?
That's the question, isn't it? And it gets to the heart of it. The future of Google, of how we use the internet, it's not set in stone. It's what we choose to do every single day that shapes it.
So where does that leave us? It feels like we're at this kind of tipping point, like the future of the internet is up for grabs, you know?
It's true, there's a lot at stake. But I wouldn't say it's all like doom and gloom. Because we have more power than we think, we actually get a say in how this all plays out.
Okay, good point. It's not like we just got to accept whatever Google throws at us.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we all need to, like, boycott Google and bring back Ask Jeeves or something.
Although, now that you mention it, that could be fun. For a future deep dive, maybe.
Right. But seriously, it's about being more intentional, I guess, more aware of how we're using these tools.
Exactly. Our sources talked about how Google's algorithm works, and it's all about engagement. So every time we click on those, kind of sketchy, clickbaity articles, we're actually telling Google, yes, please, show me more of this.
It's like we're training Google to give us exactly what we don't want. So how do we break that cycle? Aside from, obviously, not clicking on the clickbait.
We'll start with the search itself. Be more specific. Think about what you really want to find. Look for websites that you know are like the good guys, the ones who actually do good research. Support them.
I like that. Instead of just going with the big, easy answer, we actually seek out the smaller, maybe more trustworthy sources.
Right. And don't be afraid to scroll a little further. Sometimes the best stuff isn't on page 1. It's a little more work, but you'll find some gems that way.
One source actually suggested specifically looking for sites that don't use those affiliate links. The thinking is they're more likely to be honest with their reviews if they're not getting a cut of the profits.
It's an interesting idea. It takes a little more effort, for sure. But you might be surprised by what you find and the quality of the information you get.
And hey, maybe if enough of us start doing this, we can actually shift things. Send a message that we want quality over quantity,
I like that. It's a bit idealistic, sure, but even small changes can make a difference. What if everyone listening right now thought a little harder about where they clicked? Imagine the impact that could have.
So folks, next time you go to Google or any search engine, take a second. Be mindful. What are you looking for? And how can you support the people who are creating good stuff?
Because the internet, it's not some big, scary corporation. It's all of us. Our choices matter.
And on that note, happy searching, everyone. See you next time. And until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deeper.